Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your host, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So, what I got for you is a clip that I want to show, and then I keep coming back to Black single mothers because they really are failing us in the community, failing the children, and the children are literally the future generations. And it's just really appalling. I'm gonna share a clip. Shout out to brother Dennis Sperling, aka the Blizzard King. He shared this on his Instagram. So I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to share my screen really quickly. I'm gonna let the video run twice for you guys, and just we're gonna cook this. Okay, here we go.
That's funny. Okay, do this. Mm-hmm. Ah! You look sickening, darling. Do you want to see it? Okay, look at yourself. Oh my days. I can get inside. It looks pretty nice. Thank you, Jessie. You're welcome. Do you like it? Okay, cool. But yeah, continue. That's funny. Okay, do this. Mm-hmm. Ah! You look sickening, darling. Do you want to see it? Okay, look at yourself. Oh my days. I can get inside. It looks pretty nice. Thank you, Jessie. You're welcome. Do you like it? Okay, cool. But yeah, continue.
So I'm gonna stop sharing that. Problematic. All the way around, that's problematic. First of all, this is a young boy. It's a young little boy. Let's absorb that for a moment. She's sitting there putting a full face of makeup, badly, I might add, on a little boy. She's making the face of her young son like a girl. Okay? Before we get into the many issues that this displays, first we have to note the emotional immaturity here. She's doing the very same thing that a 5 to 8-year-old little girl would be doing with her baby dolls, okay? Or would be doing to her sibling, her younger sibling. You got a 7-year-old that's doing it to a 3-year-old or something, okay? A little bitty girl might end up trying to play in some makeup because she's a little girl and she's playing in makeup because she's a kid and she wants to play in makeup. Playing in makeup just to see playing in makeup just because, right? That's something little girls typically do. Little girls typically do this. Little girls typically do this. Not grown women. This is supposedly a grown woman that has way too much time on her hands to be playing in makeup with what we presume to be her son, and the bed ain't even made in the back. The background, the bed is not even made. Have anybody even washed their face and brushed their teeth at this point? If the bed ain't made, that's something you do when you get up in the morning. Before you get your day started, you make your bed. Bed nasty all day, bed just unmade all day, and you got time to be sitting on the floor next to the unmade bed, making your child face up like a girl badly. Just playing it. What are you doing all that? What's wrong with you? The child is not her toy, but single mothers like to believe that their child is a toy. Too many times these single mothers believe that the children that they birth are just playthings, and that what they say to the child, what they do to the child, what they do and say around the child actually doesn't have an effect on the child at all. That they can do and say things around the child without no consequence for the child. They do not regard children as individual people who develop their own perception and experience of things. Like the kid is blank, like an automaton or something. That's what a lot of Black mothers, single mothers, think about their kids. That they don't take into consideration that the child is a developing, separate, individual human being with the capacity to perceive and the capacity to make judgments, even if they don't express those judgments about what's going on, about their environment and the people in it and the experiences that they are having, which are a lot of times contrary to the experience that the single mother thinks the child is having, okay, or projects that the child should be having, okay? They only think of children as living objects that the woman owns, that she can do with as she pleases. This is a lot of times when you hear the reasoning for a lot of single Black mothers saying why they wanted to be single mothers, because I want to raise a child how I want to. That got a lot of implications into it. That is not an innocent statement. That is a statement laced with a lot of negativity and a lot of demon time and a lot of danger and a lot of abuse. I want to do what I want to do with this child, and I don't want nobody coming in to check me on how I'm interacting with this child. I want to be able to do whatever I perceive that I want to do with this child without nobody checking me and without nobody setting a boundary that I'm not going to set. Right? This is the precise reason why they don't like fathers around, because a father is actually going to prevent them from abusing or otherwise engaging in inappropriate behavior with these children, which they like to do. They twerk on them. They have sexual inappropriate moments with the kid. They do stuff like this, make up the kid. She's going to expect this little boy to grow up without any identity issues. She's going to expect this boy to grow up without any issues with his sexuality, without any issues surrounding his masculinity. She's going to expect this little boy to grow up without any psychological drawback from this type of behavior because they think that what they do don't have no consequences. They do stuff in a vacuum. And because they want to do it, that's all the justification that she needs in order to do what she want to do. Well, I wanted to do it, so that makes it okay for her to do that. That's excusable because she wanted to do it. And that should be enough. So from the level of comfortability that this woman displayed, she looks like she do this type of stuff often, holding him as a captive audience and then pretending that he enjoys this. Or what's even more likely is that she does it so much that it's normalized to him and a part of him does enjoy it, just like any other kind of abuse. If you do it to a child long enough, the child will come to identify with that abuse and with the abuser. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. And they will start to enjoy. Some part of them will still hate it, but some part of them will enjoy it or look for this type of abuse, especially if it's sexual. Okay? Single mothers fail their children, which, like we said, are the future generations of the community, by choosing to do away with a father's influence, to completely make the man absent, to completely make him irrelevant in the child's life and in their upbringing, so that the child isn't able to identify with their father or with masculinity. The father is an integral part of the child's upbringing, as he brings a balance and puts a stop to the inappropriate interaction between these hyenas and their children. Okay? Let's just call a spade, because what's underneath that, and not saying this particular video, but what's underneath it, because I saw a video of a woman twerking on a little bitty baby, just twerking on him. See, what this gives rise to is the undercurrent, that subculture of Black women, especially a lot of these Black single mothers, actually sexually abusing their kids and sexualizing their children, particularly their little boys. They do it to the girls too, but they sexualize their kids. And that's a subculture that don't nobody want to talk about. The sexual abuse that she visits upon her children. Because see, these hyenas do not understand boundaries. They don't.
Now don't call it a comeback. I'm thinking back on that real rap. But try ask, can I kick it? It was all that. Before trapping and drilling, it was on the flow though. Southern player, listen to Q banging out a solo. MTV Raps, Dr. Dre, your Ned Lover. Peter CL, Lace and Mecca, and the Soul Brother. True school meant the world to me. On that Greg and I-C-E. We vibe out all in our zone. Diggable on that blowout comb. Salt and pepper, the light, the brat to conscious daughters. And Red Man had me gone off of muddy waters. Reasonable doubt would take me so high. Like when AZ hit off that dough or die. Just another uptown Saturday night like him low. If you don't know, now you know. So big. I'm thinking back. 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 I'm thinking back.
Yeah, yeah. If I was to take it back with me, would you be okay with going after me? Could you keep it going like a battery? I'm just playing, okay, I'ma stay in my lane. But I'm saying if it don't feel like the 90s, I don't want it. Took a vow and I'm keeping to my promise. I'm a purist in the highest sense. She want that old thing back, but in the present tense, I represent something that they ain't never seen. Microphone fiend, but in the form of a queen. I'm not your average, and I don't mean to sound like a savage, but if lyrics don't matter, then how the hell can I manage to mesmerize with just the thick of my thighs, green in my eyes? Just the sound of my voice became people's choice. Do you remember the times when we was killing shit every night? Catching vibes, couldn't afford to catch a flight. We had cruise upon cruising this city, bumping our own shit while we cruising this city. I take pity if you missed the golden era here, when we was bringing that organic flavor to your ear. Yeah.
Thinking back. I'm thinking back. Real rap. Real rap. Real rap. I'm thinking back. I'm thinking back. I'm thinking back. I'm thinking back. Mama say, mama sigh, mama makusai. They want to be starting something that starts right now. This country is divided, the have-nots are slided. That's why I gotta speak up to get the wrongs righted. My word is all I got, so that's all I give. I'm from the worst place for black folks to live. It's plenty racial shovels for a hole that's dug. Like if you don't go to UW, then you get no love. The homeless crying out, there's no space for us. My race don't come downtown, there's no place for us. It's limited options for a face like us. We all supposed to be equal, not the case for us. When quotas gotta get filled, there's a chase for us. Since it's dollar signs in every cage for us. The unfair advantage, it amazes us. It'll make you cheap the pain away, blaze with us.
Tell me what is going on.
Hey yo, can you tell me?
What is going on? Oh, tell me what is going on. What is going on? What is going on?
Hey yo, welcome to the Midwest. Factory's gone, I swear it's such a hot mess. You ain't tech savvy, then you just stress. To add to the fact that so many are oppressed. Shoot, it ain't no wonder why so many are depressed. You can't be progressive when there's no progress. Progression here is minimal at best. It's enough to keep you under like you under arrest. Seem like a come up for all is never addressed. The leader of this country, yo, I'm not impressed. Cause why it seem in blatant hate invest. That's why these bars now are my way to protest. Which way will it go, yo? I don't know. Almost like nobody don't love no more. All the lies and deceit, yo, they got to go. Mr. Apprentice should be fired from this TV show.
Tell me what is going on.
Hey yo, can you tell me?
What is going on? Hey, tell me what is going on. What is going on? What is going on?
Now which way do we lean? Do the right thing, Radio Raheem. Either push for love or there's a push for hate. With so many open places, it ain't open for debate. Those that got the bread claim it's never enough. But those without it are the folks that got it rough. Regard for one another is how we get done. Now chant and go back to where they came from. But the they is the us, cause we are here. All the divide talk is based out of fear. Let's not pretend what message does it send. With some spouting off words that offend. The greedy type of gangs broken down to classes. Most mass shooters don't look like my masses. No time for us to discuss what special interest groups rarely interest us, man.
Tell me what is going on. Tell me what is going on. What is going on? Tell me what is going on.
Hey yo,
What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Tell me what is going on. Hey, tell me, oh, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Hey.
Hello, we are the Real Bravado Network, and we examine Black people relationships from an image perspective. Image impacts and influences your life and life experiences. It also determines how you were treated and how serious you will be taken. It can also influence your mobility, up or down. Image is a reputation that you are known for, which includes your behaviors, your character, and your appearance. The Real Bravado Network can't complete these objectives without a forensic examination of the 3 phases of the live stream: her image, his image, and our collective image. The Real Bravado Network want Black men and women to win with each other. One way of doing that is to protect each other's image, but first, examining what we have done to our collective image. Please support the Real Bravado Network on YouTube by clicking subscribe, hitting the thumbs up button, clicking the bell notification for updates, and leaving a comment in the comment section. Here at the Real Bravado Network, we dare to be bold, not silent.
Day to day, I try to conceal what I feel. I know it's real. Living life alone in a zone. Deeper than anything that I know. As time passes by, I'm feeling naturally high. That's why I say I slip to the beat. Love song. Can't hardly speak. I'm feeling like a child 'cause your smile makes my heart run wild. It's beating oh so fast, quicker than loves of the past. Should I stay? Should I go? You just let me know. Hey, I slip so love song. I can't hardly speak.
Yo, my heart skips a beat cause her head on straight. Stunning like Flojo running out the gate. She the type of chick with a lot on the plate. Got brains of a nerd, frame of a playmate. Now my heart skips a beat when she next to me. Love was more complex than her sex and me. Ain't afraid to speak of mama, cats is testing me. And she right by my side when they vexing me. Now my heart skips a beat cause she color-wise. Eyes match her thighs, in fact I'm mesmerized. She don't trip, more of a queen than a honey dip. We were tighter than the wild in the money clip. My heart skips a beat so she lace. Romantic getaways, keep a smile on her face. Cause I do the little things that truly mean a lot. Like pitter patter, my heart stop. Welcome to the essence. Sit back, relax, vibe with me. Slides by choice. Huh, you know? Yeah, yo, I hit the world with the change up. Now I'm chillin' like Kirk Shillin' when it's time to raise the stakes up. My banks, money, makeup. Big D's is back like Jordan, just to come to change the game up. Take P with my wake up, precise like electric scales. When the KB flake up, when I need break up. Get played on, fade or get fade on. I'm from West Coast, so it's known as the dope. Hot topics plus melodics make a pack dance flow. From nothing to this, a playlist, state of bliss, spit venom in eyes. Get played on, fade or get fade on. I'm from West Coast, so it's known as the dope. Hot topics plus melodics make a pack dance flow. From nothing to this, a playlist, state of bliss, spit venom in eyes. Like to cherry with the green mist. Vision is light, rode inside of one night. My bad, you're doing that cause you're in the vibe ride. Jumping off with me, street and play shake. Slide now, tell me can you feeling that vibe?
We are the Real Bravado Network, and we address Black relationships from an image perspective. Image impacts and influences your life and life experiences. It also determines how you are treated and influence how people interact with you. Image is the reputation that you are known for, which includes your behaviors, your character, and your appearance. There's nothing more damaged than the image of the Black man in America. The Real Bravado Network's next phase of development with our live stream, Have the Conversation, will focus on his image. The Real Bravado Network will be asking, how can a Black man be a leader of his community and home when the vast majority of Black men have never been led? Leadership is taught and a skill that needs coaching, development, and refinement. Over the next few months, we will complete a forensic examination of his image. Please join the Real Bravado Network on YouTube, but we dare to be the bold, not silent.
She got that last She might not be a cynic, might not be a funny, but she's a supermodel to me. I so take a caramel with an honest smile. Feather earrings in with a fly hairstyle. Play hot status. professional on lot, but on the weekend, I like to show the black girls right. She eat me like Sunday morning, this is good as it gets. Whether in a dress or heels or she in chucks and sweats. Ghetto girls want good, that's the reason I love her. At the gym 5 times a week to get in, her tough mother. Word to Jeffrey Osborne, this is my love ballad. LTD encouraged me, got me munching on salad. And she even got me backing off the dude. I don't know about you, but that's what the real wanna do. She don't like my late nights, but she respect my hustle. Put my head to her chest when she seeing the struggle. I know I'm blessed, they don't make many like her. She get a princess, man, I think I might wife her.
My breath, my mind, my heart and soul. Beauty, but it's so much more. She my destiny.
She got the best,
she bring the best to me.
She got the best, she
No need to wait another day when it's this way. I know she was sent here to rescue me.
She got the best,
Cause she was just too late.
she got the best. I know it's a lot to deal with me. I love on how she keep it real with me. Cause it's a lot of thoughts that do what I say so. But she simply shake her head and she be like, no. I love her physical, respect her mental. Fact, she's so spiritual, ain't coincidental. Now we both got our feet on soil. I can't do nothing but thank the Lord we living as royals. I remember being a big dude with small seams. She helped me stretch it out and turn it into huge dreams. Thelma Evans, good, swear she my best friend. With my pockets tight, she give the card to the ATM. I love when we're alone, she give me selfie poses. I tell her I appreciate her and she dig it more than roses. If Eve came from Adam, then she my rib. I've been waiting for a good one, let's have some
My
kids.
breath, my mind, my heart and soul. Beauty, but it's so much more. She my destiny.
She got that last
She bring the best to me.
She got that last she
No
lets
need to
others
wait another day when it's this way. I swear she was here to rescue me.
She got that last she lets others she got that last
She took my breath, my love, my heart and soul. Beauty, but it's so much more. She my destiny.
She got that last
She bring the best to me.
she got that last she lets
No
others
need to wait another day when it's this way. I know she was sent here to rescue me.
She got that last
She bring it just to life.
she got that last
She took my breath, my mind, my heart and soul. My beauty, but it's so much more. She my destiny.
she got that last
She bring the best to life.
she got that last she lets
No need to wait another day when it's this way. I swear she was sent here to rescue me.
she got that last
She bring it just to me.
she got that last
I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king and I will never knew. Plotting for my fall, you getting hanged for treason. I don't aim to please, do anything I feel. Haters gonna talk, don't listen to the shit. They tryna be like me, they know they can, yo. Can't even get close. I'm on a pedestal, sitting on my throne. My neck be decked in gold. I don't do no hoes, I got a queen though. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play it, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play it, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king, I told you guys before. Ready for the war, to get me way much more. Gather all this prize, add them to my kingdom. Shout out to my fans for pledging your allegiance. You get a reward, the best flow you've ever heard. I don't be mixing with birds, I'm a lion on the surge. Always pushing to the edge, facing arrows, never scared. For my greatness I'm a servant, only under myself. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play it, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need.
No, I can't
don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play it, I just win every day, I get it in.
Yeah. We are the Real Bravado Network, and this is Have the Conversation. Yeah, I said roll. Yeah. That's how you get it. That's how you get it. All right, everybody. I said it the last. That was fun. I said it the last time I streamed. I said, look, every man should have his own theme song. And for those of you who weren't joining us last time, I referenced "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker." Remember, "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker"? The dude was like, you know what? I don't need to say it. I'm gonna let him do it. Watch this.
Hey, Jack. All right. You got this stuff? Yeah. All cleaned in oil. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Let's get it on. Who are these guys? It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Yeah, every good hero needs a theme song. Here we go. I'm a hero. Yeah.
King. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't.
All right, yeah. I'm up here getting my people in the back in the green room. That's right. Get you something that reflects how you should feel, even if you don't feel that, but how you want to feel. Yeah, I'm a king. You got darn right I am. All right, guys, we got a stream for you. This stream has evolved over the last 2 weeks. But I think the way I got it set up right here, I think this is going to provide some interesting commentary, especially from the guys. I don't know. I am a part of, there's this real popular YouTuber. His name is The Lead Attorney. And I'm a part of this networking group offline called The Mastermind. So if any of you guys are watching, thank you. I made the request. Thank you with the feedback. If you guys are part of the mastermind, you want to go ahead and if anything in here you want to contribute to, please do so in the comments. If you want to come aboard and contribute that way, you're more than welcome. Let me drop the link right now in the chat right there. I got some private messages. Yeah, we getting it. We getting it today. All right, so let's get started. Look, I really want to look. This is a good topic, but I gotta get through it because I gotta go check out what LeBron is doing. So this is the wrong day. He should have played yesterday. Okay. All right, let's get down to business. We are the Real Bravado Network, and we talk about Black relationships from an image perspective. My name is TJ Moore, and most of my life, I've never really put much stock into anything related to image. Up until the last couple years, I really view images like this abstract, like superficial thing with people with no substance cared about. I thought, the term image was very, 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 very superficial. But as I have evolved or gotten older, that's my way of saying gotten older is evolved. The way I've evolved or gotten older, I started to realize that was a little bit short-sighted. And image is just a little bit more about how somebody thinks about you. When you take image seriously, it's nowhere near some superficial thing. It's actually very, 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 very important what we do. Okay. And we define image over here as the reputation that a person is known for, which includes your behavior, your character, and your appearance. And a couple streams ago, I decided to include also messaging, the message that you send out. And later on, we'll go into more definition about messaging. But I will, all right, so let me be fair with you guys today. This is going to be a very technical live stream. So I'm going to need you guys, I know sometimes like paying attention and details and all that, sometimes it's hard to do, but I'm going to try my best to power through that, to get some good get some good conversation going. But the topic is a little complicated, okay? So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Black men and female software. And that is a man, that's a thing, whether we realize that or not. So, but let me just get right into it, all right? According to blackdemographics.com, and for those of you who do not know who blackdemographics.com is or why I source them all the time, is that it's a think tank that actually takes all the data for Black people, and it's run by Black people. More specifically, it's run by Black people. So go to blackdemographics.com. You can actually look at who all make up, and it's very smart people, and they source a lot of information from the IRS, the Census Bureau, the CDC, private research firms. They source a lot of data regarding us. I always like to tell people, we are the most studied group of people in this country. So there's a lot of data on us, a lot of information, and I get into the arguments all the time about people who don't want to deal with the data. They just flat out reject it. They just flat out reject the data. But there's something I can do about that. But according to blackdemographics.com, 54% of Black men are single, childless, with enough money to be considered middle class. You guys hear me drive that narrative home about Black men. But let's look deeper into the total numbers. So if 54% of Black men are single, childless, with enough money to be considered middle class, that actually leaves 46% of Black men with children. But if you extract out of that 46%, the 33% of men who are married, meaning in a traditional sense, those are men who are supposed to have, those are the men that are supposed to have families, So if you remove the married men out of that 46%, and that would only leave about 13%. But yet we have a near 75 to 80% of our children are born to single mothers. That means 13%. I always say 13 to 20% because depending on which data source you're looking at, that leaves like a very small number of Black men fathering all the children in our community, because the majority of our Black men don't have any kids. And I hear women saying all the time, I have a hard time believing that because I know so many fathers. Yeah, there are millions upon millions. There's over 40 million Black people in this country. Of course, that small number, that small percentage, there's a large amount of individuals in there, but they don't represent the majority of us. We get very tunnel vision on what we can't see. If we can't see it, then we don't think it exists. So but the majority of our Black men, a small sliver of Black men are making all of the children in our community. So what does that mean? It means that any man right now alive between the ages of 25 and 55, for the most part, their primary parent growing up was their mother. That's it. And that's the majority of us, And what does that mean for manhood? Well, to not really belabor the point about it, the vast majority of men in that age group, their masculinity, their manhood looks more like femininity. That's what that means for Black manhood. Okay. And you guys that are in the back in the green room, you got some comments. Go ahead, and if you got a separate device, go ahead and put the comments in. I'll throw them up on the screen, okay? All right, so we look like men. We walk like men. We sound like men. We laugh like men. We're physically strong like men. But we behave and respond and process information and situations like women. Even during a debate, at times we can sound like women. But let me get back to that, all right, in just a second. I read an article on a website called The Good Man Project, and it was an article written by a lady named Andrea Lawful Trainer. What an interesting name. I'm going to just give you her opening statement in that article. And she said, "I'm disgusted and frustrated at the amount of grown Black men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s who are unable to function because instead of being given principles and standards of manhood when they were children, they were spoiled, coddled by their mother, and they grew into punks who can't deal with the realities and complexities of life." That was her opening statement. And as a man, I had a pretty not so cool reaction to that. But the moment I sat down and started thinking about it, that is an absolutely true statement for a good portion of our Black men. That's an absolute true statement, full stop. So especially the Black men between the ages of 20 and 30. It's very true for them in Black America, between our young men and our men in that age range. The volume of Black men in the age range that in that age range that's still at home with their parents in their 20s and 30s, man, that's crazy. That's insane. The volume of men, or Black men, that are still living off their mother or auntie or something like that, or their sister or whatever, off of some relative female. I'm going to even include the guys that live with their girlfriends or whatever the case may be, who had to move in with them. I'm going to include them in that pot as well. Okay, so let me say this. As I get further into discussion, I don't want you to think that this conversation is strictly about the failures of Black mothers. I did a 2-part live stream called Queen Mother that took a very hard look and a profound look at the failures of our Black mothers. So I'm not going to relitigate that, okay? This conversation is strictly about the effects on the Black men. And I hope this conversation brings about some understanding for Black women, some grace and mercy for Black women regarding some of the things that you see in your Black men that give you pause, and that you don't really understand. But in order to do that, I have to revisit a couple uncomfortable truths about the decisions that moms have made, okay? So give me a little grace and mercy because I might jump around a little bit on this subject, but back to the article. Remember the opening line: "I'm disgusted and frustrated about the amount of grown Black men in their 20s and 30s and 50s who are unable to function, who are unable to leave their homes." To sit here and say that there's no truth in that statement would me be taking a position that's not honest. Men in this age range, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and even into their 50s, that still live at home with their mothers or aunties, I'm talking about able-bodied men. I hate to tell you this, but you are an absolute disgrace. I'm just saying, especially those men who, in that group, who have children. What the hell can you teach another generation? How can you develop your next generation when you have not matriculated to the appropriate stage of life yourself? They're often not embarrassed by their own situation and condition. And what makes it worse, the majority of our Black women actually reward these men. They actually reward them. How do they reward them? They give them children. They give them kids. How can you claim to be a man when you still live in your mommy's house, baby boy? You cannot be a man living in your mother's house. That makes you a child. Let me be direct and let me be very clear. Moms, and I know this statement is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. If your son is over 21 and he's at home, you failed. Men, if you are over 21 and you are at home, you are a loser. I'm talking about able-bodied men. The fact of the matter is that, yes, there is no expectation for a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 22-year-old, or a 23-year-old to have the same level of stability as a man in his 30s or 40s. There's no expectation. The expectation is to get your punk ass out of your mama house and go start learning, failing, fixing, building. That's the expectation of you at that age. Sorry that you're going to sit around and say, oh, it's hard because I'm only making $9 an hour at Dollar General and I got to go to college and I got to date. Oh, well, that's the life of a young man in that age range. You got to go do it because it's part of the road that makes you who you're going to be at 30, 35, 40 years old. When you start talking about and thinking about legacy and family and guiding a woman and wanting a woman to submit to you, how can you do all of that when you at 35, 40 years old, you still in your house and you don't know how to go apply for a mortgage? You don't know how to go pay, don't know who to call to turn a light bill on because your mama been taking care of it for 40 years of your life. All right, sorry about that little rant. But you are a loser. Now, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people are not going to agree with that, but I'm going to put a pin in that subject because we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. But there's some encouraging news for Black women regarding the status of Black men if you are willing to accept it. Here's why Black women should be encouraged regarding the availability of Black men. Believe it or not, ladies, there are Black men available. I'm not going to go off onto that tangent because, we got to get through some stuff. And LeBron, I got to get to that too. So according to blackdemographics.com, 54% of Black men between the ages of 25 and 55 are single, childless, and earn enough money to be considered middle class. Please understand that the average two-family household income is about $67,000 to $66,000 a year. That's roughly, we're talking about the majority of Black men earn between $40,000 and $60,000 a year. So if the average two-family household is 67 to 68, and the average Black man is about 42 to 45 and 60 on the high end, that means that Black man roughly makes between 60 to 70% of a two-family household, which means your average run-of-the-day regular old brother is at least on an economic status enough to take care of a family. So when we talk about money, we don't actually even talk about we actually don't even talk about When we talk about money, we don't talk about the jobs that are connected to those dollars. You know, and some of those professions are like teachers, police officers, firefighters, truck drivers, electrical linemen, HVAC techs, barbers, mechanics, healthcare workers. I'm talking like nurses, respiratory therapists, image technicians, even your department store managers, your managers are like Walgreens and stuff like that, and CVS. These do your restaurant managers. They make in that range. I've heard too many times that I heard from my black women that those numbers are hard to believe. Well, let me let you in on a little secret for those of you who think that way. The truth does not require you to believe it. Only falsehoods require your belief. So the truth is kind of like God's word. It stands alone. Now go talk to your pastor about that, okay? I ain't got time to get into all of that right now. All right? The earning scale that most black men fall into encompasses a wide range of professions, educational levels, skills, and skill set. But the purpose for this discussion, or a part of discussion, we're not going to really talk about those men just yet. We're talking about the 54%. We're not going to talk about them just yet. Black women largely pick men that this article talk about. Mr. Failure to Launch. And those are the men that our women in the larger American culture believe most men actually are. Our women in the larger American society, white folk, believe most black men are the failures to launch. They believe that because of their narrow view of stuff. Because believe it or not, I often tell a story about the lady that I was at work with who did not believe that there was a lot of black men that worked in the facility that we did, until I walked her around introducing her to all these black men. And I had to tell her the reason why you didn't know they were there, because you ignore the vast majority of black men. Okay? So nonetheless, we still have a large percentage of black men who suffer from the failure to launch syndrome, or the Peter Pan syndrome, meaning we have a large population of black men who refuse to grow up. But the question is it their fault? Is it their fault? You know? Let me see what this is. Yeah. Is it their fault? They are allowed the failure to launch. They are allowed to be biological adults, but remain emotional children. Another term for this is called can be considered son husbands. I did a live stream on son husbands. So go check that out. Two sets of streams that I would like for you guys to check out: the son husband stream that I did, and the queen mother streams that I've done. Very good streams. And those were done with all lady panelists, all lady contributors. So go check that out and check how I interacted with them on those two subjects. Okay. Now here's the thing that gets a little dicey. There's a huge similarity between the group that I called the 54% and the Mr. Failure to Launch, which is probably one of the reasons why black women can't distinguish between the man she should align with and the man she should leave at the bus stop. One of the things that these two group of men have in common is that they both were raised by single mothers. The other thing they have in common is the level of their mother's influence in determining their development. So hear me out on this. This is going to get a bit complicated, but listen, because of the amount of overlap, for the purposes, for discussion purposes, we're just going to call the two groups of men Mr. Failure to Launch and Mr. 54%. Okay? just for discussion purposes. Mr. Fair to Launch is who you call your Pookies and Ray Rays, are also the men, and also the men that depend on their women for their upkeep. And the 54% that we're talking about are going to be our more productive Black men. So listen real close. Women as a norm, and this is not every woman, but women as a norm process everything they do and every decision they make through their feelings. A woman will make a decision that her brain tells her this is going to be all bad for you. But if you can make her feel good about it being all bad, she will come up with the justification or convince herself that she will not have the same negative, that she will not have the negative impact of the decision because, she did see her third cousin 5 times removed not get impacted on that same decision. All you got to do with most ladies is make them feel good about the decision. They'll do anything, even if it's not even for their best interest. So back to the men. Mr. Failure to Launch and Mr. 54%, from an emotional standpoint, feels like the same man to a Black woman. So what do I mean by that? The emotional interaction or the vibe between both of these groups of men gives her the same subconscious impression between both groups of men. In her mind, what does it matter which one she picks when they both give off the same vibe or the same energy? So what vibe or what energy am I talking about? Just give me a second. I know so just give me, both sets of men were both raised at a near 80% clip, were raised by their mothers with little to no male influence in their development. Both groups of men are raised with their mother's outlook on life, her behavior pattern, her decision-making process, and her emotional reaction. A lot of times with us, single mothers display a profound lack of disrespect for male authority. They absolutely sometimes outright reject it. And this behavior is sometimes passed on to their male children. If you have a deep, honest conversation about both sets of men, the Failure to Launch, the 54%, the majority of them will have an extensive stories regarding their mothers speaking about men in ways that send the message that men have very little value. And I know this is not every single mother, but Lord, we can't always preface everything we're saying. We're talking in generalities a little bit, and that's okay. So how does this impact the little boy's self-esteem? What about his development? Both groups of men, Failure to Launch, 54%. Like I said, we look like men, sound like men, laugh like men, physically strong like men, but behaviorally respond, process information, and make decisions like women. We are biological men with all the biology that comes with it, but our programming, our imprint is female. We as little boys absorb the programming, teaching, behaviors, thought processes, attitudes, our response systems of our mothers. We are imprinted on and we identify with mom's struggle because we're sitting there. It's mama. The opposite energy isn't in the home to counteract that. We've seen the tears. We've seen the various men in and out. We've seen her have some success somewhere. We've seen things that validate our thoughts about mom. Mom's getting it done. So so we have no reason, even as teenage boys, to question why mom does what she do, or even ask the question, what's the real reason why dad's not here? Because let the majority of our women tell it, it's because a man ain't worth for nothing. Might be true. I don't know. And that bond with dad for that child, that male child of that dad, is often severely broken because all we see is him not hearing mama complaining, and that just reinforces stuff for us. So many of our Black men find out much later in life what that absence meant for their actual development and why some of the things in their life did not go the way they went, and why they're being reacted to by other women like the way that they're being reacted to. So when I made the statement that most Black men that most Black women can't tell the difference between Mr. Failure to Launch and Mr. 54%. That's because when she's trying to make a decision between the two groups of men, she's processing that decision oftentimes through her feelings. Both groups of men are giving off the same feelings, vibe, and energy. So in her mind, what does it matter who she picks? At least with the 54%, at least with the failure to launch, she can control him economically. And let's not forget, a woman's nature is to nurture, be mothering. So which group of men actually need the most mothering? Right. The failure to launch. Therefore, and the failure to launch has an advantage over the 54% because the failure to launch has developed a unique ability to consistently make his mother feel good about him being a failure to launch so he could stay in the house. And Mr. Failure to Launch, will use those skills, those transferable skill set to a woman whose nature is to nurture. And most of our Black women, and then also most of our Black women have the belief that one of our primary goals with her man is to build him up. How often do we hear Black women complaining out of frustration when the relationship fails about how she had to build up her man? That's not your job. It's not your job to build him up. Your job is to support. Our women feel like their value is tied to her ability to build up a man. That's not your job. My goodness. Now, before I bring up my friends to talk about this, Philly, I'm going to come to you because I'm going to come to you first. Okay. The 54% have managed to escape the failure to launch syndrome. But the majority of the 54%, and this one is hard for me, if the majority of the 54%, if you listen close to them, we kind of sound like the strong, independent woman when we talk. Yeah, that very mantra that Black women brag about, the 54% do the same thing. Well, because we got female imprinting. We don't use exact wording and all this, that, but listen to the 54% regarding their frustrations with our women and picking, and then our women picking the failure to launch as in mass, because you do. The 54% frustrations is often expressed in how strong we are, how independent we are, you know, we say stuff like what Black women say. I got my own house, I got my own car, I got my own job, I take my own bills. Why would you pick Mr. Failure to launch when life over here will be less stressful? The argument is correct, but the feeling, the energy that sends off to the woman, it's her energy. That's simple. Remember, women typically run everything through their emotions. The modern Black woman believes her house, her car, her job makes her equal and just as independent as you, Mr. 54%. And from an emotional standpoint, Mr. 54%, you represent her competition. She doesn't have to compete or submit to Mr. Failure to Launch. She doesn't have to follow rules or come into any kind of structure with Mr. Failure to Launch. In her mind, the only difference between Mr. Failure to Launch and Mr. 54% in her mind is on the same level, that y'all are on the same level, especially when she's picking, assessing, making a decision based on an emotional draw or attraction. Mr. 54%, you're built too much like her. Because she was right, because you raised her. This is all of us. If she's going to be in the house with another person with female programming, it might as well be Mr. Failure to Launch, because at least with him, she's the head of the house. And there's no stronger drug on this planet than power. So, hey, Felicia, how you doing?
Hey.
Just give me a second. So 54% of black men between the ages of 25 to 55 are single, childless, earn enough money to be considered to be middle class, blah, blah, blah. Between 75% of black children are fathered by Mr. Failure to Launch. Here's the question I'm going to hit you with. And I'm glad you there and you can't actually hit me with this question. Almost all black male adults right now are raised by mom. Here's my question. If the majority of black men are raised by single moms, and the single moms have imprinted female programming on nearly all the men, including Mr. Failure to Launch and including Mr. 54%. So why, if you guys have done all of the raising, why do women complain about the quality of men when our women have made them?
Because at the same time, some women, or I speak in general, okay, at the same time, even though you just say women, we raising men or boys, you want them to be in tune with their feminine side. Like you want them to know about feelings, emotions, and things of that nature, like how to recognize that. And so, but at the same time, you still want that balance of that masculinity. You still want that. And so I think that is like a where we know women can't do it alone. It's script in a sense of, I'm trying to find my word, like it's script in the sense of, and you feel free to help me out. I'm trying to find a word where.
Mr. Edmund, let's go ahead and unmute.
Yeah.
And you too, Frederick.
Indeed. Good evening, everyone.
Hey. I mean, my brother. You get what I'm trying to say? Like it's script from.
Here's
it's a
what
word for it.
Yeah, I think I know, but here's what I think. And the guys, you can jump in whenever you feel like. But here's what I think. One, I think you do the best you can. But the reason why you complain is because you just see a male, physically see the male, and you think he should automatically be there. But how can he automatically be there when your male child, or you're not looking at? See, we all get a little bit, we have a little bit. We don't have perspective when we're looking at our son. We only get frustrated because we're looking at another woman's son, and we're getting mad because that other woman's son, is exhibiting some of your characteristics, but yet your son is exhibiting those same characteristics with another woman. So, but our women get pretty ticked off at the fact that they complain about the quality of men. Now, let me tell you something. I don't believe that there's a lack of quality of men, but our women complain about the quality of men. But my question is, y'all raised us. So why are you mad, Mr. Frederick?
My question would be, where's the balance in that?
There is no balance because there's no man in the house.
But I'm saying, but you just answered my question.
Balance, but I mean, there will be none, because I mean, you have to have that male figures in order to have that balance. So a mom can only be a mom. Like, I mean, is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like a mother can only be that. That's what her job is to do, is to nurture in that sense. Like, I mean, you can, like my son, I was a single mom. Like when my son was here, like I could show him, okay, this is how you do this, this is how you do that. But I made it my business. I can only be a mom. I made it my business to connect him to Rice University where he can have male figures around him. Because I can only be a mom. He needs those male figures if there's no man in the household. So,
but that's understandable.
right.
But you know, I just I just the conversations are from our women that complain about the quality of our guys and their development and their manhood, and especially the Mr. Failure to Launch. And I'm not saying this is your situation, Felicia, but the vast majority of our women, they got kids by men who are failure to launches. That's who got majority of the children. But Mr. Failure to Launch didn't just become Mr. Failure to Launch. His mama raised him that way.
Right. He's always been failure to launch because the woman was at that moment in time, she was looking at the potential of that man instead of taking it for what it was. Like, he hasn't fully developed into what he needs to be. He's not, there yet, and allowing him to do that. And then, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But yeah, that's where it always feels like, I mean, that happens, like always believing and trying to see the potential of an individual instead of saying, no, this is what it is. This is where it is now. And, allowing that person to grow and develop into what they need to be. And
Yeah,
it's
But isn't that, like, at the end of the day, isn't that still a choice?
yeah, exactly. That's the choice. So,
I mean,
don't know.
I guess the way I look at it is like you can't. And this is something my father told me. You can't blame anybody else for your own choices. Those are the
Right.
choices that you made. So whatever better deals you made, you gotta lie in it.
Right. Pretty much.
True indeed. I mean, but we are all still, I hate to say victims, but we are all kind of still victims of our DNA, right? We are still simply regurgitating the lessons that we were learned as children, right? I see a lot of young mothers dressing up their babies like the men that they aspire to have in their lives, right? And so with that, they're also trying to instill in them those morals and values that they want in a man, right? So I get what you're saying as far as, we are biological adults, but emotional children, right? Because again, now you're kind of focusing on some of the control that mothers have to maintain to raise a son. I'm a product of a single home, right? My mom did her best. My mom whooped my ass as much as possible. However, there were times where that was no longer something that was working, right? So then it became, okay, now I need help, right? Even though that there were people around, right? Because listen, as products of single parent homes, you're going to find that masculinity somewhere, whether you're at school, whether you're participating in sports, whether you have uncles, whether you talk to the hustlers on the corner or the gangsters that's slanging and thanging and all of that, you're going to get it somewhere. Right? Your mom does do a great job, or moms, I should say single moms do a great job of reinforcing morals and values and respect, right? But once you get outside of that influence, now you have people saying that, oh, you just weak, you're a simp, right? You actually don't know what it is to be a man because you actually shed these tears.
Right.
Right? You actually know about emotion and are tapped into it. Does that make you less of a man? No, absolutely not. It makes you a more well-rounded man by being actually in tune with your divine feminine aspect that we all carry, right? Because some of the cats who were, maybe just raised by their father or whose father was completely influential in their lives may come out of that situation being more damaged than a single parent household.
But on that note, the data actually says that, and I got to do some more research on it. And but there's data that shows that kids raised in a 2-family household and a single father household have the same outcome? I'm not going to put that out there all the way because I only read like a paragraph of it, so I didn't really get into all of it. But you know, so there's some, but you know, there's data on everything, whatever.
Because
But
I was about to ask, have the same outcome in what ways?
meaning like
Because
a kid coming out of a 2-parent household is least likely to be involved in the criminal system. A kid coming out of a 2-parent household is more likely to go to college, graduate college. A kid coming out of a 2-parent household is less likely to be a parent without being married. A kid coming from a single mother, 80% of the people in prison are from single parent households. So the research is saying that, you know, but you have to understand something. You have a very finite amount of guys who are the primary parent. So I think to a degree that kind of that sample size might be a bit too small. It's like 3 or 4% of custody issues. The father is the primary parent. So meaning the kid lives with the parent, the mom pays the child support and all that. So that number is very small. So take it for what it's worth. That's why I always say I got to do more. I'm not definitive on it because when you start thinking about it from a numbers perspective, you know, hold on a second, guys. We got blessed by the Good Guy Experience podcast. He just donated my first super chat. Thank you. Much love from the Good Guy Experience. A lot of this violence comes from men raised by women and being overly emotional masked as being tough. Yes. Well, let's talk about that for a quick second. And I don't want to go off the rails with this because we got to stick to the structure today a little bit. But listen, I always talk about that when you see, even when I was growing up in the 90s, when you see young men out here in the streets getting into confrontations, and the first thing they do is pull out their little pum-pums. We're not allowed to say the words on YouTube. Their pum-pums, and they go spraying up the world. That's an emotional reaction. That's a mother's reaction. Now, you know, Philly, you can jump on me if you want to, but when women get angry, they will burn the whole house down. Don't care it's burnt down. And then 5 minutes after she didn't calm down, go, oh boy. You know, men who actually my bad. Lord, look what happened when Lisa Left Eye Lopez when she was dating when she was with Andre Rison. Burnt the mansion down. Burnt the mansion down, and on the news, she just walking around like nothing happened. I don't know. You know,
a toxic situation to begin with, though.
Oh my
right.
God.
But understand something. When you got testosterone with female imprinting in a female emotional reaction to stuff, because they're mimicking their mother's behavior, it's explosive. I remember the very first time I don't want to say confronted, but I was in the space of what we would consider like a masculine man. I was working for the Urban League, fresh out of undergrad, and this brother was my supervisor. My God, did I give this man the blues? I mean, every little thing that he did to critique or criticize, I would just blow up. Or if he said something that I thought was disrespectful, you know, my grandma, don't let nobody disrespect you. And I've seen her, as I got older and past that, when I think about how I interacted with this man, I could hear my grandmother and how she interacted with conflict. I'll never forget a day. It's amazing that they didn't fire me as long as I've been there. I remember one day he was, you know, I was supposed to do this presentation and I finished it and he needed to go through it and approve it. So then he went through it and then he nitpicked everything to death that I did. He brought me to the conference room and we're talking about the project and he just like, why you do this and why you do that? Did you see this over here? What is it? This don't correlate with that. He just ripping it up. I'm not taking it as a teaching thing. Man, I got so mad. I was sitting in the back of the room and he was standing like at the door, sitting at the door. I got so mad at that man. I was like, man, you can kiss my ass.
Ooh.
Well, first of all, that was a turning point for me because a couple things happened. That brother who was all 6'3" and I'm 5'11", that sucker pound. He hit that table and it was a long conference table. That whole table shook. He stood up, and for the first time, I was about 24 years old. I was like, oh my God, I was trapped because wasn't no other way out of the room.
Damn.
I just knew I was for to get the business. You know what I mean? But he didn't do anything. He actually sent me home. And that became a turning point, and I got suspended. That became a turning point and started how I started. And then a conversation days later with him started changing, how I saw things. But I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing. I just did it because that's the way I thought I was done. So when you got all of this, female imprinting with testosterone, now that wasn't dangerous because I didn't do nothing, but just imagine if I was an emotional dude with on top of, maybe some psychological issues that a lot of these young cats on the streets got, start shooting up the place.
Well, see, that goes to a point of not really thinking things through, really not being intelligent and looking at it. Like I said, my father plus my own military experience taught me to see things from a tactical situation, not from a warfighter standpoint, but from a common sense standpoint. What is this guy? What is this guy? Who this guy is? What is he going to do? How am I going to approach this guy, or how am I going to counter him if he decides he wants to act ignorant? So for me, it's I'm always trying to think at least 2 to 3 steps ahead, because first and foremost, if you're going to be highly emotional and act like King Kong, that's cool. We can do that. But just you want to act like Superman, that's cool. Just know that Superman the weakness of Superman is kryptonite. And if you want to be like that, I got your kryptonite. Yeah. But I'm not going to do that in a way to where I'm going to act out or be rah, rah, rah. Because if you want to be rah, rah, rah with me, I'm going to look at you very calmly and be like, brother, I will highly advise you to go the other way. If you want to do all that pew pew stuff, take it to the other neighborhood.
Yeah,
take it someplace else.
But see, when you in that mindset, without that development, without that interference or whatever from the opposite, I hate the word energy. With my situation, I didn't know about. I thought what I was doing was right.
Exactly.
I thought I was right.
I mean, when you're acting, when you say that, the way you said it, you told a man to kiss your ass. In your mind, I'm doing the right thing. That's
right.
That's
because
proper.
My grandma told. I was taught, don't take no crap off nobody. But I also was in a home where my grandmother was the lead of the home. She didn't have much regard or respect for any man.
See,
like zero.
That's the imprint.
She had a whole fella.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a whole fella. She liked the fella. I think she really liked the fella, cared for the fella. But man, the way she would talk to that cat, the way she would do that cat.
What was it that made her keep her guard up like that, though?
Well,
like, what was it about it? What happened in her life, or
what happens in any woman's life that act
she
like
that she couldn't let that fail down? Huh?
No, he was a good dude. What happens in any woman's life? You get burned by one man, then every man got to pay for it. That happened with my grandmother. Yep. She got burnt by my grandfather, and every man after that had to pay for what he did.
Not everybody.
Huh?
Well, that's the thing, though. The minute somebody burns you or hurts you, that's everybody gonna pay for it, irrespective of who it is. Whether that person is a good person, a bad person, or even very mediocre person, they gonna pay for it in some way, shape, or form.
Because unfortunately,
Angela, hit that link and come on up.
Becomes a new standard, right? The pain that you feel or enforced by someone becomes a new standard that everyone
that's
bound by.
Angela, hit the link and come on up.
And the minute you hold somebody by that new standard, that's what they're going to be bound by. That's the standard you're going to hold for everybody else, and everybody else is going to pay for somebody else's mistakes.
Yeah. But so when you're talking about men and interacting with, and I tell our ladies all the time, and I try to, you're very hard on your brothers right now. If you're a brother out here in that 25 to 55 or 60 age range, I try to tell our ladies, you got to give these men some grace and mercy. A lot of us are not coming into understanding about how we move until now. We're just now starting to really understand that and what that means. You know what I mean? And and yes, we want male leadership. I want masculine men and the opposite energy of you. And then and here y'all are dealing with emotionally the same kind of guy. All right,
I think that's biological as well, though, right? I think that goes back to the family structure, right? So now you're dealing with a fatherless home, but you're also dealing with the emotions of a mother who desires a certain type of man, right? Wants certain things in her house to help her child or to help her. So then she starts to make sure that all of those types of morals and values are pressed on the child.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's no longer about this is what men do, this is how men act, this is what little boys are supposed to do. It says, listen, as long as you ain't like your damn daddy, right? Look at Don Lemon, right? He's a nice, clean cut man. Why don't you be more like Don Lemon? Because your daddy, he just blah 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 blah, right? So then, like you said, we end up conforming to what our mothers believe is the epitome of a man.
All right. Miss Angela, Queen of Collaboration, welcome. You wrote, you
Hey,
said
Angela.
you said not true about something. What were you talking about? Go ahead and unmute, Angela. I don't know if Angela, can you hear us?
I think it froze.
No, I saw her move. Are we struggling? You got to unmute, Angela. You're muted.
I was muted. Here, y'all.
Okay, go ahead. So did you hear me? You said one of the comments you wrote, you said something about not true. So I wanted to know what you were talking about. Do you remember?
I don't know. I said a lot. I mean, y'all said a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
all right. Yeah, we're seeing a lot. Hezekiah. I heard you breaking up pretty bad. Hezekiah, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. You got any input on tonight?
Yes, I do. They confused.
Who's confused?
The women are.
You
they don't know if they are. They're confused. They don't know if they want, for real, they don't know if they want a man or a woman. Because the way today's society has it is, it's okay to be with a woman or it's okay to be with a man. So they want both. But they have to make a decision on who they want.
Mr. Elemental, go ahead and unmute. What you talking about, bro? You put all that smoke on the screen, Mr. Elemental. Unmute.
I'm dead. That goes somewhere very different.
I'm dead serious.
Same.
I'm dead serious. Society has it as well. You can choose. You can choose if you want a man or a woman.
Hold on a second, Hezekiah. Mr. Elemental, what you saying?
I'm saying and I hear what you're saying, brother Hezekiah. I really do, right? Because these people have so many choices, right? But in the frame of what we're talking about as far as raising children, like you're only making it worse by even bringing in a person into your life that a child can't even tell what
I'm telling you something from real talk, from real information. Like it's from experience.
It's tricky, right? Because now you're almost asking a woman, right? Which is what we're talking about, right? A mother, again, right?
Yep.
A biological female who is bred, or I believe, biologically created to nurture. Now you're asking them because of their sexual to the plate to be someone who focuses on nature, right? It doesn't
matter. She chooses who's going to step up to the plate.
What do you mean, Hezekiah? You got to be a little bit more specific about when you talk about she chooses what? I'm a little bit confused.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a situation. She goes both ways. She likes a man or a woman, and she has a child, which is biological. It's from a man, but at the same time, she likes a woman also.
Oh, okay.
So, from a man's point of view, how do you deal with that? How do you come off on putting yourself in a position to be the man that she needs to know? It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
Well,
it depends on if you.
Yeah,
it depends on if you can help her take care of that child. In the long run, it depends on if you can be there for that child to be that man or that woman. It doesn't matter to her. It's all about how you can contribute.
Yeah, that one's a little bit outside of my scope, man.
But I'm being real talk here. I'm telling you, I'm real.
I understand. I completely
At the end of the day, I mean, a mother can be a mother, and a man can also still be a man. Like,
hey, I'm telling you, I've been through this.
Hezekiah, did the Alphabet Group send you in here to gaslight us? Did the Alphabet Group send you in here to gaslight us today to disrail the conversation about black people?
At the end of the day, the Alpha Man won. At the end of the day, the Alpha won.
They ain't won a damn thing.
She still wanted what she wanted.
No,
No.
crazy.
No.
Oh, man. I can't. Okay.
Man, I throw my hands up on that one, bro.
Look, I hear you, brother. Right? Because it only confuses the
She wanted both. She liked it both.
Hold on.
So it's up to the man if he wants to, decide if he can handle both.
Yeah, okay, Hezekiah.
So about a man like it both.
See, here we go. We are not letting the alphabet community take over this conversation at all. I'm not doing that. Now, I could understand it from when we're talking about male and masculine and feminine energy and masculine and feminine
This is real conversation here. I'm telling you some real story.
Yeah, but that's another conversation for another day. You know, the alphabet community, they get enough attention. They get enough attention on their issues. What we're talking about over here when it comes to the male and female, we're talking about energy and behavioral stuff, not actual physical. I don't care about that. I care about.
They do.
So in the vein of what Brother Hezekiah said, do you think that because of what he's saying, it is now even put more of a damper on traditional family, values?
I think the alphabet community is trying to see. Now y'all for to get me taken down off of YouTube and everything.
No, sir. Hey,
the alphabet community. We can't have the conversation. We're going nowhere. We can't have the conversation. We're going nowhere, man.
Yep.
No, sir. It's confusing
their
because
agenda. Hold on, Hezekiah. Their agenda is to disrupt the traditional family structure. That's their agenda.
But that's how it is.
You understand what I'm saying? But let me tell you something. Black people, we are more susceptible to any kind of disruption than any other group. There is a concerted effort. There's a concerted effort to continue to disrupt. They did that by the entitlement programs. They did that by the war on drugs. They did that. They did that by the crime bill.
Time a new slave narrative rolls right out of fucking Hollywood. Every time they do it, they let you know where the hell you supposed to be.
Yep.
Come on,
right.
man.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right.
I'm telling you now.
Hezekiah.
I'm telling you now.
Last comment, Hezekiah, because I got to move on.
Okay. I'm telling you now. You see a beautiful woman with another woman, and you like her. And maybe she's going to give you a chance. You might get that chance, but you better come with it because I'm telling you, the world we live in now is disruptive. It didn't happen, and it has happened.
You got to get you a kit. Okay. If you're trying to keep up with these women that's stealing your women, you got to get you a kit because they got a kit and they're going to break it out on you. You got to get you a kit, brother. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Get you a kit.
Okay. I'm done, Hezekiah.
It's up to us to position.
Boom, I'm done, Hezekiah. So I just muted dude. So Hezekiah, hold on a second. So absolutely, I think that there is a concerted effort. But to wrap up this section, because we got to get to the real bravado. I mean, we got to get to the 3D radio break, and then we got to get to on the other side. Listen, oftentimes with black men and black women, you know, I always talk about the fact that our issues are deep and multi-layered, you know, and I always talk about the fact that we got to give each other grace and mercy. We got a lot of black men between the ages of 25 to 55 who they got a lot of female programming or imprinting, and they're doing the best that they can. But I tell our women that don't mean that you still should pick the failures to launch as your narrative. Okay. We're gonna go ahead with the 3D radio break. On the other side of the 3D radio break, I'm gonna re-explain what that is for, what this is all about, and how that came about. Also, on the other side of the break, we're gonna talk about kids. These damn kids. All right. Oh boy, Hezekiah, I'm through with you, man. All right, everybody.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
It's a 30-minute music hour. I'm Andy Moore from Beloit, Wisconsin. Rod D's and weapons of mass dysfunction.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you to what is life. We're fighting for a change, ladies and gentlemen. The change starts now. It starts with you. It starts with us. Yo, yo, yo. There comes a moment you gon' stand up or lay down while we walking victory until these steps is heaven bound. Moments in life can leave you on pros. Back in my hometown, General Motors just closed. Now all these folks in this economic crunch. Why it makes me glad that I never had much. All on the table when we making the deal. The dream is to connect, show the world how to feel. Some even say that that's part of the appeal. Open up a heart that was once this cold as steel. While we stand on it, be a grown man on it. Living by the motto, that's the way that God wanted. Take the tears inside, continue to ride. Know somehow it's a destiny to provide. So we get up, get my piece of the pie. Know that the days cannot pass by. Oh,
give it just another day.
Another day, another day.
Oh, give it just another day.
Another day, another day.
Oh, give it just another day.
Another day, another day. Oh. Listen. Yo, these verses here are dedicated to the have-nots. Had a strength to carry on, dealing with the A-guys. Now we gotta deal with the plights of the get-rights. God bless the child has got his own under streetlights. Now we break it down for the nightly news highlights. Those up in heaven with their name up in bright lights. Cause of every studio sessions, like fight nights. Wanna race through the race, reach out for new heights. Wanna break it down, hopefully they get a chance up. Something that they hear, make them wanna put their hands up. Believe the goals, never give a stance up. And now they want it, we wanna give a chance up. They want the truth, so we give it straight to them. Live for the God that we see shining through them. It's like that, there's so much to say. Another day, oh.
Give it just another day.
Another day, another day, oh.
Give it just
another day, another day, oh.
Give it just
another day, oh. Listen. We break it down cause there's no more excuses. How it should be cause the most high should choose is. Gotta walk the walk instead of talking the talk. For the tablets and stolen bodies written in chalk. I'm writing for my grandmother, help me play a part in living out a dream that was spoken of by Martin. Break it down till it's humble abodes. Mississippi to the north, make it humble abodes. I'm a blue collar baby in the water so crazy. Playing Sam Cooke, change is gonna come lately. Right to touch the roots like that, I'm Mr. Ailey. Poetry, emotions like Steph, I'm Mr. Ailey. Searching for the reasons like White and Mr. Bailey. Determined that we gotta make history on a daily. It's like that, there's so much to say. Another day, oh.
Give it just
another day, oh.
Give it just
Another day, oh. day, another day. Oh, listen, listen, listen. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that was Mr. Rob Dees. We use him a lot on the 3D Radio Network. So listen, at the beginning, all of this, kind of like the reason why the Real Bravado Network is actually exist out of something else. Years ago, before live streaming and all that stuff was popular, we used to do everything was done via the World Wide Web. You could actually listen to your radio stations online and stuff like that. This is all like the precursor to streaming. So me and a group of people, a guy named Derek Underwood, his name is 3D, a lady who comes on the show from time to time, Florraine Clark, her name is Lady Flo. She's actually a reggae artist. So back then we actually came up with we developed our own website, and we developed our own online radio show. We did sports. We did a show called The Big Show, where we talked about current events and celebrity and all that stuff. We kept track of crime. We did relationships. It was kind of like a plethora of stuff that we did during that time. And then on my next stream, we're actually going to talk about why that actually ended. We had grew. We were we targeted professionals, so we would go to businesses like Black professionals and try to get them to listen to us while we were at work. We pre-recorded everything, so we just did a lot with the sports, with the Big Show. We did professional development. We just did a whole bunch of stuff. And so when that ended, there's been this 15-year gap where Derek Underwood 3D, he was actually an online radio personality in my local market. And I used to do a lot of social networking activities after work for more professional people. This is when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I used to throw this event called The Experience. What in The Experience was, it was a comedy show, a live band, and a DJ. And it was a networking for professionals, because in my city, there wasn't a lot to do for Black professionals in my city, because we only made up 2% of the population. So I did a lot of this stuff, but it actually ended up ending on the radio show side of things. His radio name was 3 Digger, 3D or 3 Digger. It was interchange. It was 3 Digger on air, but then he actually DJ'd in clubs, and it was 3D in the clubs. So he was the front dude. I was behind the scenes. I wrote all of the shows. I produced all of the content. So I wasn't on mic at all, because I did not feel I was a talent. We actually had the voice, the personality, and all that good stuff. So when I decided to try to relaunch what we were doing together, unfortunately, about 5 years ago, 3D had a stroke. And a pretty bad stroke, and he's still alive. He survived it, but it rendered him where we couldn't reassemble with him and do what we're now calling the Real Bravado Network, which then which then made it either be myself or Flo, who comes on the show a lot, to be the face of the Real Bravado Network, and it was me. And my talent actually lies with constructing the actual, program, not necessarily the online, the visual, the entertainment, what we're doing live. This is not where I'm comfortable at. So in order for me to pay tribute to somebody who's a close friend of mine and his talents and what we did, we just do and part of the show that we used to feature talent on our show. So now we're featuring talent here, but we're just calling it the 3D Radio break, and we're naming it after 3D Radio. So that's kind of while we do the 3D radio break and stuff like that. Okay. So that gives people a little bit of insight as to why I do what I do with this. All right. So let's get going. So let's get going with the last half of our stream. All right. So let's talk about kids. You know, we got to have this conversation about kids. Why are we talking about kids? Well, I'm sick and tired of all these kids running around out here. I'm actually sick of kids. I'm sick of them. I'm sick and tired of people talking about kids. You thinking I'm talking about underage people, don't you? I'm not. No. I'm talking about adults. Why are we in Black America so comfortable with calling full-fledged adults kids? Let's go back to the article that I mentioned earlier in the stream, where the author of the article talked about the frustration with the large number of Black men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s living at home with their mothers, okay? This is when you also factor in the volume of men who father children in Black America and those outcomes leaving those children in single-parent homes. We're in a crisis here. Also made a statement that if you are over 21 years old as a man, if you still live in a home with your mama, you are a loser. Here's why I have that outlook. For some reason, we continue to call adult male children kids. We refer to a 24-year-old as a kid. I've heard a 33-year-old referred to as a kid. No wonder why when we ask people about the decisions that they make and the poor outcomes that it produced, the number one response we get back from them is why they made that decision. Because I was young. Well, if we keep telling adults and addressing adults as kids, how in the world are we going to get anything that resembles a responsible Black community back together? Let me drive this point a little bit further down the road. Everybody knows who Martin Luther King is. And I'm not going to make a comparison, like compare or exalt other people and comparing to Martin Luther King. That's a whole different thing. But let me explain something to you. While we're sitting around calling a 21-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old a damn kid. Martin Luther King, MLK, got his PhD at the age of 24. He was a married man with a family at the age of 24. At the age of 25, Martin Luther King became a pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama at 25 years old. Today, we would call a 25-year-old man a kid. At 25, 26, at 25, 26, 27, 28 years old, Martin Luther King and other men of his generation were going around this country meeting with world leaders, meeting with state representatives, meeting with the president of the United States, organizing whole movements, the lunch counter sit-ins, the Montgomery bus boycott. They were doing all of that in their 20s, and we got the damn nerve to call a 20-year-old a kid. I have outlived Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was what, 35 or 36 when he was assassinated? Who we would call a kid today. Over and over on this platform in our live stream, each subject I talk about image and the concept of image, and that image determines your success, positive and negative interactions, and how people view you. If we are internally calling our Black men kids, children, not full men, how do you think the society is gonna treat our dudes when they're out here in this world? They're on the job, get talked to like. Do you know how hard it is for me to sit up on my job some days and not knock somebody teeth down their throat because they think they got the right to talk to me like I'm 10? Yeah, I'm quiet right now. Everybody go ahead and unmute.
I can't, man.
I'm gonna talk.
That's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. All the way around. When you take into account that people don't expect you to be in those spaces, right? Whether single parent or multi-parent household, they don't expect you to be in those places. So you're already shocking them the moment that you step in the door, like, you're not supposed to be here. Right? Your kind is supposed to be over there. When you start breaking those rules, right? When you start shattering their glass ceilings that they believe that we're not supposed to break, right? Now you're faced with different questions like, wait a minute, was your dad at home? Right? Because they're expecting us to all come from the same situations to be facing the same issues.
What we don't understand is this is a new age.
I don't want to hear
this is a new generation.
I don't want to hear no shit about
This
that.
is something. It doesn't matter. I don't want to hear it either. When I go to work every day, I never want to hear it. But at the same time, you're going to hear it. You're going to see it. You're going to either have to like, wow, or you're going to be like, okay, I got to deal with it.
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
At the same time,
I'm not.
This woman.
Go ahead.
You have this woman, full-blown woman. She has a kid. She is no older than 21, 25. Boom. She has a decision to make. She doesn't know what she is or who she is. All she knows is what she sees on YouTube and Instagram. And she runs with it.
Program.
And believe me, she runs with it.
Here's the thing about this whole.
And so, how do you tell that woman how to raise her kid? She only knows how to raise her kid the best way she can because her mother is no older than she is.
At one point,
and her mother telling her, do what you got to do.
Gotcha, Hezekiah. And I'm gonna say this like I've said before, and maybe just my attitude is a little bit more beyond because I'm fed up. I'm fed up with the excuses.
I'm fed up too, but at the same time, I have to be like, you have to be sensitive.
Hold on, Hezekiah. I don't need to be sensitive about nothing. That's our problem.
You got to be.
We too goddamn. Let me stop. We too damn sensitive about a lot of stuff. Let me say this, and I've said this time and time again. At what point are we responsible for our own damn outcomes? I don't care. I'm going to go into my story next week, but let me tell you something. At some point, you're responsible for you and your outcomes. You can't sit there and lean on what my mama and my great grandmama and all that did. You come on, man. And then here's the thing: we sit around and talk about this is a new. We sit around and talk about this is a new day and age. We are failing. So the new day and age. Of course, the new day and age is for us to fail. That's what we got to look forward to. Is
compared
extinction.
to what?
Hey, you know what they look forward to? They got body count. You know they got body counts now. That's the new age.
I hear what you're
body
saying.
count.
We're failing, but what are we failing at?
We're failing as a community. We're failing as a family. Prior to 1965. So you mean to tell we Mr. Elemental, you know we are the most freed, most liberated group of Black people in the history of this country. So you mean to tell me the only time that we can be on one accord, the only time we can have a family at an 80% clip, the only time that 80% of our women can choose a regular old bro to get with is when Whitey got his effing foot on our neck? That's the
Because
only
they
time
freed us
Does
and didn't
that
tell
not
us how
sound
to
like
live. They
assimilation?
freed us and didn't tell us how to live.
What you say?
They freed us, but didn't tell us how to live.
I don't understand. What do you mean? Does it sound like
When
assimilation?
they freed us, but they didn't teach us how to live. Everything that they freed us from, they still ain't teach us how to live.
Why do we got to be taught how to
Man.
live? We never the cross throughout humanity.
That's deep right
Black
there.
folk ain't never been had to taught how to live.
They call it assimilation.
What do
right?
you mean?
And they're hoping that we adapt enough of their culture, enough of their language, enough of their mannerisms that we don't even remember that we were ever black in the first place.
Existed.
That's right. Freedom
We
ain't free. It
operate
came with a
in their
cost.
space.
Freedom ain't free us.
Why I keep
Operating in
saying,
their
man,
space.
within but without white America. Come on, man. That's the only way that black people will ever truly have autonomy for what we want to do, right? We are having these conversations, which is a great conversation, right? I look forward to every one of these conversations. But we have to realize that all of these things that are going through our mind, why we have to decode and decipher these things, is because they have been so inundated in our brain that says we are our own worst enemy. Right. And so when you look at, a single parent household, it's like, what I need him for? He's going to be gone anyway. So I'm going to teach my child how to be better. Better than what? Better than what the oppressor showed us what the family structure is supposed to look like. Right. Better than trying to leave before mass come sneaking around. Right. What is better? Better than what? Better than who? Right. Because as far as America is concerned, black people have only known slavery. Right? We are still learning how to be free under oppressive rule within an oppressive force. Right? So our children and our families and our future generations are still dealing with the impact from the plantation. Right? Every time I hear this N-word that black people love to use, that is just a reiteration of the mentality, man. So it doesn't matter what you teach your family as long as you're still filling them with that generational disgust for people of color, for black people, for images of ourselves. We're going to continue to have these conversations.
Yeah.
We have no margin for mistake as a black man. No margin for mistake. No matter if it's our past, present, or future. We have no margin for mistake.
You got a good point right there. Yeah, we have to be 3 times as better as our fellow man to break
no margin for mistake.
Yeah, we got to be 5 times better with our own women.
Hey,
but that's
listen. But what has society shown us? Right? They glorify CB4. Right? They glorify South Central. Right? They glorify Tukey Williams. Right? They glorify the shoot 'em up type shits. Right? We don't see enough.
They can profit from it.
Of course, because that continues to drive their narrative. It's
all about the narrative. It's all about the script. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the script. Keep the script going.
Hey, TJ, this is it. If I'm not coming at you, and I'm trying to holler at you, if I'm not gangster, if I'm not hollering at you like I'm a square, there's no in between. You're weird. If I can't be myself, I'm weird. Can I just be me? It doesn't fit. You have
certain
to.
places.
I hear. I hear
places, yes, but you got to remember this is a significance, right, in this country. This is a flag of a warring faction in this country. You got to remember that everywhere you go.
So I won't say that one more time. Say that one more time, Mr. Elemental.
This is a symbolism of a warring faction in this country, and you got to represent that and know that every place that you step in.
Okay,
yep.
That's gonna be. Hold on, Hezekiah. I'm gonna leave that to be the final word. We got to wrap up. Listen, guys, hold on a second. All right. If there's anybody on, I know there's a few people left on the live stream from the mastermind. I asked for some feedback. You go ahead and click the link. We're about to end, and I'm gonna bring everybody up now. For everybody else, we're gonna put a pin in the conversation today. Today was a couple interesting topics. Talking about everything I do here, I want to, emphasize that I'm doing it from a point that we need to extend each other grace and mercy. And I said time and time again that black men and black women are going to have to create a new deal. Our black women are going to have to understand that come to terms with and, No, you can't do anything about what has been done, but you have to accept what has been done. You have to own what's been done. You're going to have to forgive yourself, and you're going to have to ask brothers to forgive you. The 54% of black men out here, most black men want a black woman. Most black men are more willing to be, and we're going to on this stream one day, we're going to have a conversation with the guys about the whole stepdaddy thing. Your black man is going to be a stepdaddy because he has no other choice, because there's too many that are not. The other thing that we got to do towards our black men is stop classifying our black men as kids. They're not kids. A 20-year-old, 21-year-old, 23-year-old, 24-year-old, 30-year-old man is not a child. He might be inexperienced. He might not be full developed into his man, but what he's not is a child. And what he should never be is still in your home because he got a path he got to walk down. All right. Hopefully, I don't know if anybody from the mastermind is there. Please click the link. We're about to come on up. Everybody, this has been fun again. I can't wait to do this again next week. Everybody else, stay back for the after stream. Okay. So stay back for the after stream.
I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king and I will never kneel, plotting for my fall. You getting hanged for treason. I don't aim to please, do anything I feel. Haters gonna talk, don't listen to the shit. They tryna be like me, they know they can, yo. Can't even get lost. I'm on a pedestal, sitting on my throne. My neck be decked in gold. I don't do no hoes, I got a queen though. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king, I told you guys before, ready for the war, to get me way much more. Gather all the spoils, add them to my kingdom. Shout out to my fans for pledging your allegiance. You get a reward, the best flow you've ever heard. I don't be mixing with birds, I'm a lion on the surge. Always pushing to the edge, facing arrows, never scared. For my greatness I'm a servant, only under myself. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in. I'm a king cause I do what I want and what I need. I don't need you to nobody, I'm busy doing my thing. Mess with me and you could get forgotten, just let it sing. I don't play, I just win every day, I get it in.
All right. How did y'all think that went? I don't know.
I like
Yeah,
that one.
that went pretty good, man.
I like that one.
Me too. Me too.
When you start dealing with software, man, you know,
Yeah.
it's tricky. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you biological, right? Your meat suit says one thing, right? But your emotionals say something very different. I like what you said though, and I
Technology
wanted to kind of touch on what
programming.
you said. You said retaliation is emotional response to trauma.
Yeah.
And I love that, right? I have a poem where I said, you know, I wish I spent more time with my father soaking up his savagery. Instead, I learned subtlety from my mother, right?
Mm.
I like that.
That's kind of what we're talking about, right? It's we want to be because the men in our lineage have been that. However, most of them also found themselves in uncompromising situations. So what we have learned, I believe we incorporate more so into our DNA, and we pass on those jewels to the next generation to say, hey, the people before me, they did this, right? But if we follow the same path in a sense, then we will be extinct. So kind of like Brother Hezekiah was saying, oh, she don't know if she want a man or a woman. Yeah, because there's fewer and fewer brothers around because of things like COINTELPRO, because of things like the war on drugs, because of things like mandatory minimum sentencing, right? When you start talking about where have all the good guys went, when you don't have keys to upper mobility, you start doing shit to start making money, to bringing it in. And then the government gets involved, and now you got nothing, baby. Nothing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with it more. Even to the point of like, again, it's like I said earlier, it's about learning how to think differently, how to see situations differently, how to view things from the perspective outside of your own perspective. You know, and like I said, I don't know. I mean, I can't say anything for other gentlemen like that. I was raised by both my father and my mother, so the way I was taught was always to move in a sense to where move in a way to where everything made sense. Everything made everything had a reason as a behind it. It always moved with a purpose. I mean, some of these cats nowadays, I won't say they move funny, but they move funny.
Right, because they don't even know what they want. Like, I mean,
I mean,
Yeah,
you and
you know,
it's
you
just
move
a
like
with
Riley
messed up
said,
world we live
you
in.
looking kind of unfamiliar. Granddad, you
Yeah.
looking kind of unfamiliar. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like,
Just get away.
and my first thought is always like, why are you
Crazy.
responding that way? Why do you want to respond that way?
Right.
Did you think that shit through?
No.
Did you think about the consequences behind your action and
No.
whatever
Not
action
at
you
all.
take? Are you gonna take accountability for that? Are you gonna take
Not at all.
responsibility for that?
I'm not trying to pick on our ladies today, but like I said earlier, you know, a woman to burn the damn house down and be okay with it while it's burning, but then after the
Listen,
fact,
I
But
mean, the
that's
hot
like an
chicks thing.
emotional
and
response. Like,
you got a lot of men like that.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
they'll burn the damn house down, be okay with it burning, and walk outside like they ain't did nothing. And then 5 minutes later, after they came
But
back to
don't
themselves, they're like, "Oh damn."
but
That's
see,
what I'm
but don't
talking
get it
about.
twisted though.
And when I talk about our women, how can I? You know, when I was sitting there writing this, you know, this stream, I rewrote 4 times. When I was sitting there writing, and I said, "Damn, how?" You know, I started thinking, like, "Damn, our women." You know, why would they pick the 54%? Yeah, that the 54% got a lot to offer, but when you factor in how women do things, they do everything through their feeling. And so a 54% man feels like a fucking woman, a damn woman to him, and Mr. Failure to Launch feels like a woman, and she running her show. I'm gonna take the dude I can run. You can run, Mr. 54%, but the difference is Mr. 54%. But Mr. Failure to Launch, she can run him. She can run him, but he's going to destroy her.
okay.
Because he's going to leave her with a bunch of children, going to leave her with heartache, psychological damage. Mr. 54, Mr. Failure to Launch, he might be able to control him. You know, he got to come to mama for an allowance, come to mama because he needs some draws, you know, or some soap or some deodorant, or he need a ride to the stove. that might be empowering to our women. But the aftermath of that, go ahead, Philly.
I was gonna say when you said about the men, you know, being women and like the women being like men, that or not knowing what they want, that's because the world, this what they call role reversal kind of thing going on.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking about earlier, but I couldn't get out the role reversal. The roles have been reversed. And it's being presented as being it, but it's not.
Yeah. And then when you come up on a
The
guy
role
like,
reversal.
and
Yeah.
when you come up on a guy like TJ, who's an actual man, and you got all that male energy, it's a problem. It's conflict.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
Exactly.
Right? Is that conflict, right? When you talk about approaching, that's what this is. When you talk about approaching the 54%, right? Then you're asking one of the parties to conform.
Yep.
Maybe conform in a way that they are
Yeah.
uncomfortable with. Right?
Yeah. Unfamiliar territory.
Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
Because they've been
Yeah.
so used to dealing with Mr. Failure to launch. Right? I've been doing my thing my way for this whole time. Now I run across Mr. 54% and he wants this kind.
Yep.
I don't bend like that, baby. I done came too long. I'm too grown to be new. I don't need that shit. So as much as you may want Mr. 54%,
right?
You're
But
gonna
it should be
find
okay to
yourself
bend. But it should be okay to bend.
Exactly.
It should
And
be
it's
okay
also
to bend.
people being set in their ways, like being set in their ways, not wanting to move into and adjust to their surroundings or their newness.
But that's where growth comes from, though, Philly. Adjusting.
But that's if they want to grow. Like a lot of people don't want to grow. I mean,
Right.
that's society.
I'm in now.
Today, like
Do y'all hear me?
social, emotional.
Yeah, we
I'm
can hear you,
actually
Hezekiah.
studying now.
Everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong.
What the hell you talking?
Everybody's wrong.
How surprising you would say that, brother Hezekiah, that everybody's wrong. Come on, tell us about it. Come on, man, tell us.
Everybody's wrong. These new generations don't care about what happened in the old school, the new school. They want
I
to
can
know
barely
about
hear
what's
him.
going on.
I'll give you that.
Let me turn it up. Hold
I'll
on.
give you that.
Like
Right?
it's fuzzy.
I'll give you that. The generation, this generation is so
Can you hear me now?
the distance between the struggle, they don't
This
understand. I'll
generation
give you that.
does not care if you're right or wrong. They are so confused. They don't know if they want a man or a woman.
I'm not doing this again, Hezekiah. I'm not going down there. I'm not doing that.
We don't want to speak on it, but we have to.
I'm not doing that, Hezekiah.
We have to. We have to speak on it. We have to.
First of all, Hezekiah, black men or black women aren't just the Zenio
Right,
group of
it's a
men and
lot of
women.
black. I mean, it's not.
No. Hey, what city are y'all living in? I'm living in. Ooh, boy, I'm trying to tell you, boy, I've been through. I'm telling you, we have to decide if we're going to be the man or do they want the woman. I'm trying to tell you, because at the same time, they be like,
There ain't no choice. That's not a choice, Hezekiah, because that's not because that. It's not a that's not a choice. That's not a choice.
The old school that we lived by, that ain't happening no more. You might as
Of
well
course.
write that out the window. And when
But what you just said, should still apply
information does
to
not.
today. That's not a choice. I'm telling you, it's not a choice because we're
I tell you
bikers.
what, you
A
get on
woman
the
is
dating
biologically a
scene,
woman,
you
and a
tell
dude
me-
is biologically a dude.
and you tell me,
That doesn't matter.
do you
You can't be a woman and choose to be a man.
I tell you what, you get on the dating scene and you tell me, how do you decide, how can I be this man and she wants this one at the same, but it's both.
Hezekiah, Hezekiah,
Thank God I'm not dating because
stage left.
as you say, everybody wrong, everybody confused. Don't
Hezekiah.
nobody know what they want.
Let me
Hezekiah.
Somebody said that they couldn't hear him.
Hezekiah,
My
listen.
heart is hurting, man. Like,
That's the stage left for me, dog. Period.
You don't understand, like,
Hezekiah, Hezekiah, hold on a second.
I'm listening.
I actually have an answer for you if you want an answer.
I'm listening.
Listen. Now, first of all, we got to presuppose that you as a man have made yourself the best quality man you could be. I'm not just talking about from a financial standpoint, but I'm talking also from a character development and leadership standpoint. So here's the answer to that question when you run into a woman like that. Let me take, and I hate to compare a woman to a kid because we just got through talking about kids. But remember, we always tell a parent, don't ever get into a power struggle with a kid. But if you have to, you can't lose. I tell men the same way. Don't get into a power struggle with a woman. But if you have to, you can't lose.
Depending on the woman, you don't really have a choice in it.
Exactly.
You can't lose. Here's the thing. If you got a plan and you are of a certain ilk of a man and you are interested in a woman, you stand your ground no matter what. Now, you're going to have to decide at some point, if she's not going to get on board with you, you're going to have to decide to cut her loose or not to cut her loose. That's still not losing. That's still not losing. Losing is you bending to her. Let me tell you something. As much as our women, have all of this dominant energy in them, the one thing that they cannot tolerate, women know when they're out of line and when they're out of order. They know. But what they can't tolerate is when they know they're out of order and you bend. They will never respect you again.
Yep. Or
I had to learn that lesson. I learned that lesson the hard way.
It's a tricky one.
And women don't like being brought to accountability. If you
No,
pull something,
that's the problem.
If you
They
pull-
need to be brought to accountability.
but you could do that. That's possible.
Accountability looks very different from a male.
Yes,
female
it does.
perspective.
Yes, it does.
Right, it's very different, right? If you go to court for a domestic violence charge, the woman is going to be seen very different from what the man does.
Exactly.
Right? Because of traditional family roles, right? Yes, there are people now who are fighting against that status quo, right? Fighting for same-sex marriages and same-sex relationships. That's all great, right? But you got to remember, right? If we're going to go all liberal, then you got to throw out all of that traditional shit. All of it.
Everything.
All of it, right? So don't come at me talking, I want a man that does this and this and this and this and this. But you want to do none of the shit that encompasses that because you want to do this, this, right?
They will do with a woman, and the women will do worse than what a man
do. Hybrid of both, then everybody needs to understand what that hybrid looks like, right? Because then you end up in situations where one person is saying you need to be a man, and then I've never ever heard a man tell a woman you need to be a woman, right? Ever.
Nope. Never heard it.
Never, right? Listen,
Wow.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful.
That's my next step.
Wow.
I've heard a woman say you need to be a woman. Just stay in your place.
I ain't never heard that.
I've never even heard a woman say to another woman, be a woman.
I ain't never heard that.
I never heard that one.
I've heard that.
Right?
Ooh,
But
I've heard
as
that.
men, we have to get scrutinized to say, oh, this is your role. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Right? No matter what our software is, there's always someone telling us, you're out of line. You're drifting. You're supposed to stay right here. Right? That is what I believe why it's such a minefield for black men to walk around, period. It doesn't matter if you're in a racist situation or not. People are holding us to an unrealistic fucking standard, man. I don't care if it's inside our community or outside our community, right? It's unrealistic. Right?
Unrealistic.
It's race in space. Race in space.
It's like, how can I be the man that you want, but at the same time you holding me up to these standards that I know I can't meet?
It's bred out of assimilation.
It's
Right? It's
impossible.
bred
It's
out of
impossible.
assimilation. You're supposed to be on the corporate fast track, right? We're supposed to be moving to Calabasas, right?
Right.
I don't want to live in the hood. I don't want to be in a high crime area. So you need to go
Like-
and kiss that corporate ass so we can move up in the world.
I'm like, dude, I'm not getting there for you.
But you know what though? Mr. Lamino, that also means you have to sacrifice your principles to do that.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is
And
why I believe right there what you said, brother, which is why women have the comfort to say you need to be a
The
man.
comfort zone.
Because they've
Mhm.
also
'Cause
said,
the
oh, honey, we need to get rid of your pride, right? Because we have bills to pay, we have mouths to feed, right? But then the moment that shit turns the opposite way, it's like, oh, why don't you just be a man and go in there and demand? Oh, really?
Hey, I
Now,
get
now
that
you,
woman. She's
now
already
you
there.
want the spear and not the carrot. Like, come on.
But see, my
I
thing
get
is,
that
I'm
woman.
not gonna
She's
sacrifice
already
my
there.
principles for another dude or another woman. Period. My principles are my principles. I'm not bending them. I'm not breaking them. So if
I
you
had a
asking me
woman
to
tell
do
me,
something that's unreasonable, if you ask me to do something that's unreasonable, I'm not gonna damn do it. Point blank. You can either
but you
deal with
gotta
it
also understand,
or deal with it.
Casey, you gotta also understand. The woman will tell me, I got all these toys. What I need a man for?
I don't give a fuck. Bye. Move on. Move around. I don't give a
Let
fuck.
me
Bye.
know
Move
when
around.
let me know
What
when
I need
that
a man
toy
for?
holds you at night. Let me know when
Hezekiah.
that toy can rub your back because you're hurting.
I don't
Let me
either.
know when that toy brings you the heating pad when you're having period cramps. Let me know.
Exactly. I don't-
Let me know when that toy brings
When
you some
that
fucking
toy
food in the
brings
morning
you-
because
yes,
you're sick.
sir.
Let me know.
My thing is, I don't care.
Instant
Move around.
gratification.
You don't need a man. Move around. I don't give a damn. Move
Instant
around.
gratification.
You can have that instant gratification. You can move around doing that. Move the fuck around.
We
I
talked
don't
about
need
that the other week too. That gratification stuff.
Move around. You want to be
Instant
instantly gratified?
gratification.
Move around.
That's what
Don't
it is.
care.
That's what
You
it
don't need a man. Guess what? See you later. Bye. Next. Shit. Go like Kevin Samuels say. Go get a dog and die alone. You don't need a man. Bye. See you later. Bye.
My uncle posted on the internet the other day. He said, "Hey guys, y'all are losing. Introducing the Rose."
Hey, I said that earlier. You better get you a kit. I said it earlier. You better get you a kit. All right. Listen, them toys, they are serious business, man. I'm telling you, they are serious business. If you don't step your game up, listen, they got glass ones and plastic ones and ones that spin and ones that dip and dive and duck like you playing dodgeball. Listen, man, you better get those shit together if you try to keep it. Just saying, man. Just saying. I know you. I've been hearing you, right? When she actually wants a man or a woman, listen, man, you got to keep up with the competition, brother. That's all I'm saying. You want a traditional family role, you need a traditional family woman. If not, get you a kid and get you a trick.
Hey, I'm on point. Hey, I'm not
Get you a kid, get you a trick. Oh my god.
Hey, for real. I'm not the road. If you want a husband or you want the toy, you choose.
Look,
Until you get the husband, do what
No
you do.
different from men looking for
I ain't got
men,
nothing.
right?
Exactly.
Everybody do what you do.
Handle your
I
business.
mean, if that is not there, I mean, I don't know what everybody be doing.
Think about how long it takes for a woman to bring herself to a climax. When she knows her body, she knows the toy that she has, where she wants it, when she wants it, boom, and she's done. Right? She don't need you snoring and oh baby, can you clean this? And oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm thirsty. All that shit. Nah. She want to do what she want to do and roll her ass over and go to sleep. Right? But sometimes men just make that shit difficult because I want you to do this and I want you to. Can you climb over? Can you put your leg over there? About that shit. Right? However, when she gets that
eat.
crazy.
Cook something to eat. Wash the dishes. Hey, I do all that. It still ain't good enough. What do you want?
At that point, is again, if I'm doing all that, if I'm making myself emotionally and physically available, but then I'm also doing other things outside of that, and it's still not appreciated, bro, I'm out the door. That doesn't work for me. That's a non-starter with me, brother.
Hey,
I'm not doing that.
If I have to feel depressed when I have to leave my job because I know I got to go home and I'm gonna feel depressed, I'm not coming.
I've been there,
bro. I'm not fighting another war, bro.
I'm not going there. If I have to be single to the rest of my life because I have to come home and I have to hear I'm not good enough or I'm not doing this, you can have that. You can have your toys.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna share something with you that my therapist shared with me, man. You need to look at what are the common factors in those relationships.
I need to look at what I'm
it's
looking
not
at.
just you, brother. It's not just you, right? Examine the type of women that you find yourself around. It's not just you, man. Really,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
take all that onto yourself. Seriously,
Hey,
man.
and when
This
you,
should
and,
be
we, and when
damaging
you sit
your
back
health
and look
and
at
your
the
psyche,
woman,
man.
you
Seriously.
know what kind of woman we look at that we never going to get back?
You're doing yourself a disservice. You're setting yourself up for a failure and then making yourself feel bad because you failed at something you wasn't gonna get in the first fucking place. Like, let's keep it a bean. You wasn't gonna get it in the first
I had
place.
an acquaintance in friendships like male friends like that. Like they always go after like women they knew from the door that like they would tell them like rip them down in front of them and they would still go after them. Like I'm like, why are you doing yourself like that? Stop it. But that's who they wanted.
I find myself in a position where I always go after
Like
women
that's
that
so
I know.
messed up.
I find myself in a position where I always go after women that I know that's easy or I can get. And I'd be like, oh, I want to make them the one. They are not the damn one. You know why? They don't recollect nothing I like in a woman. They don't make me happy.
Because they confused, Hezekiah. They confused. They don't know if they want a woman. They don't know if they want a woman or a man. They got a whole bag of tricks. They got a whole bag of tricks. They confused.
A whole bag of tricks.
They confused.
I love it. Hey, you know what? I love it. I love confusion.
You know what?
Everything that's not
Hey,
right.
I'm gonna say this to you. I'm gonna say this. Have the conversation.
Not finna play with him.
Tonight.
Let's have a conversation. Hey, yo, let's chop it up, man. Hey, yo, let's have a conversation. Hey, yo, may I interject? It's about time for communal reconnect. Power of the we in some type of context. Working on the us so we can hit up what's next. Get that grown brother grown sister type of flex. More like soul check, not just collecting checks. Fact, not feelings is what we got on deck. Take the high road, so this here is high tech. Getting to the real, everything that we hitting on. Pull up or sit down, tell me what you sipping on. Reclaiming kinghood, that is what we getting on. Real headlines is what we spitting on. So, hey now, yo, let's have a conversation. Maybe take a sec to talk on what we facing. Only way to change is to change the situation. How about we break bread now and have a conversation? Hey now, yo, let's have a conversation. Maybe take a sec to talk on what we facing. Only way to change is to change the situation. How about we break bread now and have a conversation? Let's have a conversation. Hey, yo, let's have a conversation.